How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC, and today we are going to do a whole bunch of comparisons between some Benchmade knives, mostly Spyderco knives. I am going to be addressing a lot of comparison questions that I've been getting down in the comments below, so let's hop into it after we look at these real quick. Check these out. These just came in the other day and I haven't had a chance to show them off. These are the lizard skin scales from Three Rivers Manufacturing, TRM. This is on a Neutron 2, but they sent these to me to try out, and I just wanted to show you guys because I think they're really, really cool, and I just didn't get an opportunity to show you yet. But check out this milling on this G10. The diamond pattern is much larger by the pivot, and as you move down the body of the knife, it diminishes into basically, I don't even know if the camera will catch it. It really turns into kind of like nothing down at the bottom. It's almost, at the very back end here, it's about the same grit as their normal smooth contoured G10 scales. But I just think they look really cool. Of course, went for the orange because that's my new obsession lately. Orange knives, but I just wanted to show you guys those because I will be trying those out. We've already tested the Neutron 2, but at some point I'll test these scales and just see how I like them compared to the titanium and the other G10 that I have. But let's get into some comparisons here. A lot of people have been asking questions about different Spyderco knives, put head to head, some Benchmade stuff. So we'll get the Benchmade over with real quick, especially because this comparison doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But I think a lot of people are coming into the EDC world and they don't yet understand that you can't just like compare two knives that really have nothing in common. Like, it doesn't quite make sense to compare them. So I've been getting a lot of questions like, Erica, which one would you pick, the 940 or the bug out? And in my opinion, because they are polar opposite and they have really nothing in common aside from being made by Benchmade, it's like a question that doesn't quite make sense to me. So for anyone that's been asking that, I can't really give you an answer. That's personal preference. Notice how the blade stock on these is very different and the shape is very different. They were created for two completely different purposes. The bug out was originally made to be like a backup blade in your bug out bag, or kind of like not a last ditch knife because that would be something different, but basically a backup secondary blade if you're on a hike or in your bag in your truck or something very lightweight that you don't even notice is there, and you know, when you need it, it's available, but not a hard use blade. Okay, so the bug out is very lightweight, it's very slim. I think it's like 1.8 ounces total. It's not very durable in the sense of like you can really squish these scales together, see how they can touch. You know, it's not like a crazy rugged knife. So comparing it to the Benchmade 940 Osborne, which is the epitome of rugged durability, it just doesn't really make sense to me. This knife was made for the opposite. So this was made to be a multi-tool. Warren Osborne was a rancher in Australia who made the 940, and when he designed it, he wanted it to be a multi-tool so that ranchers, farmers, people traveling with horses, they could cut baling twine and feed bags, and then if in the field a horse, for instance, got a rock stuck in its hoof, you could use this reverse tanto area to literally dig out a stone from a horse's hoof without damaging the animal. That's what that was very specifically made for. This is all documented, you can look it up. But Warren was a knife designer, he was a creator, and this was made for completely opposite tasks than the bug out. You know, this is almost like your last ditch knife. something that you would use if your main blade broke, whereas this is like your first pick. This is jack of all trades, master of none, can do everything, not perfectly, but it will cut, it will pry, you can use it as a screwdriver. It's just a very durable, rugged, overbuilt knife, okay? I mean, just look at how thick that blade stock is. And yes, it does thin out with that grind there, but then it is really reinforced at that tip. Sorry, you can probably hear Zadie making a nest underneath me in the carpet. She's digging. So, you know, you can't really compare these two other than the fact that they're made by Benchmade. If you're looking for a light, slicey, dicey EDC knife, the Bug Out is fantastic. If you're looking for more of a multi-tool knife, a rugged, durable beater, the 940 is fantastic. So hopefully that kind of helps you, because that's a question I get a lot, which is funny because they're just nothing alike at all. Let's bring in some that are a little more comparable, though. I get questions about these a lot. So the main Spydercos that you see on my channel are the Delica, the Sage 5 Lightweight, the Para 3, and the Native 5 Lightweight. Okay? One of the most commonly asked questions people inquire about are the Native 5 Lightweight versus the Para 3. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the lightweight. Just the Native 5 versus the Para 3. Which one would you choose and why? This is kind of personal preference, but in my opinion, I would choose the Native. I feel that the overall design of the Native 5 is more user-friendly. I think the Para 3, because it is a shrunken down version of the Paramilitary 2, which is a tactical kind of fighting knife, this is not as great at like slicey dicey tasks compared to the Native 5 Lightweight. So this blade shape is, in my opinion, a little more of like a fighting style knife. It doesn't make too much sense in terms of EDC. It's a little too triangular, and I think because the blade stock is so thick and you don't have like a ton of room to thin out, especially because it's full flat ground, it's not like hollow ground, it's a fine slicer, don't get me wrong. And like going through cardboard is fine, but if that's like your main task, this isn't like the most ideal knife for it, I guess. The forward choil is very nice. I love the design of this, but even just the ergonomics, it's very flowy, and it just feels more like a knife that you would be pulling out of your pocket to maybe do these type of movements with, if you're catching my drift. It is 100% incredible at EDC tasks. I'm just saying, compared to the Native 5, I would choose the Native 5. The compression lock is very nice as well. Mine is like really gunked up. I really need to clean this. There's a bunch of crap stuck in it. The compression lock is great, and when your knife works correctly, it's very fast. But just the overall design of this, to me, is not like screaming EDC at first. It really is a smaller version of the Paramilitary 2, which is a self-defense blade. Do people use it as a self-defense blade commonly? No, but I believe that's what it was intended for when Sal, kind of came up with that whole thing. I believe it was Sal. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the police, the military, the Paramilitary 2, they're all a little more geared toward like law enforcement, okay? And this is no exception. It's smaller and it's very cool, but it holds true to the overall design of the military series being a little more of a combat knife. Whereas the Native 5, this is not a combat design, okay? So we have a back lock on this one, so you don't get that like flippy quick action from the Para 3. It's a slow roll. It's smooth, but it's not quick. You know, you're not going to be Spidey flicking this and fidgeting all around with it because it's a back lock, okay? And then if we just look at the overall design of especially the handle, it's a little more slimline. It's a little more boxy. It's very lightweight. Everything is a little more centerline on this. It's a little more of a straight line, right? We don't have those like curves and contours like on the Para 3 where this is going to melt into your hand for when you are doing different movements with this blade. This is a little more just plain, I guess. And I actually really like the more leaf-shaped blade for EDC tasks. I just find that when I'm cutting, this is just a little nicer to work with. I think that the blade stock that they used on the Native 5 is really nice. It in hand is very comfortable, but this is definitely a little more of like an EDC blade. I just think that this is more utilitarian, I guess. This blade shape can be interesting to work with for certain tasks. I do have full reviews on these knives. They're both incredible. And if you can have both, get both. 100%. I'm just saying in general, the consensus from me for all around EDC would be the Native 5, whether it be the lightweight or the original, okay? Another question I get is, what would you pick, the Delica or the Sage 5 lightweight? Again, kind of personal preference, but I would choose the Sage 5 lightweight. I really like this blade shape. I also really enjoy the compression lock on this. This is a very good EDC knife. I think it's completely underrated. I think a lot of people overlook it, but this is an incredible EDC knife. It is really comfortable. It's almost like you get the contours in the handle from the Para 3, and then you get much more of a Native 5 blade shape. You get that leaf-shaped blade. So it's a little bit of a hybrid of these two, okay? And you get the compression lock from the Para 3, so it's lightweight, it's fidgety, and it is very lightweight. I think it's 2.9 ounces, so for me that still stands as lightweight, light like the Native 5 lightweight. But you have the rugged durability of the Para 3 again because you have full liners, which I don't know if I can pick up. But this is coming in at under 3 ounces, and it does have full liners and overbuilt standoffs. So this knife is extremely dusty, but incredibly durable. You're not getting that flex. You're not getting that flex like on the Benchmade bug out, right? You're getting full liners, still very lightweight, but this is a tank of a knife. The Sage 5, especially the lightweight, is extremely durable. And you're getting kind of the best of all the worlds with it, in my opinion. Forward choil, jimping, Spidey hole, compression lock, really flowy ergonomics. You can choke up on it. It's very comfortable. You can also hold it back here if need be in a combat situation, because it has ergonomics similar to the Para 3. You could absolutely hold it like this and your hand isn't going to slip down, right? So you can definitely use it as kind of like an all-around good blade for anything. You have that bi-directional texturing in the FRN. So this first half is flowing this way, then that second half is flowing that way. So when your hand moves, you're really gripping onto that. It does come with a wire pocket clip, which is, in my opinion, garbage. I have bent and broken many of them. That's why I have this Lynch clip on there, the replacement clip. But aside from that, this knife is a perfect EDC knife, in my opinion. The Sage 5 lightweight is incredible. The other versions are great as well. I had the Sage 3, which is the Blackie Collins bolt action lock one. I ended up gifting that to a friend, which I will forever regret. But yeah, I've also had the like gray G10 Maximate one, the titanium one. So I've had many Sages. This is my recent one, but this is really nice. And I just think because the Delica in essence is an outdated design. I would definitely choose the Sage 5 Lightweight if we were comparing these two. This is a fabulous knife, but you know, you have the back lock. It's a little outdated. You know, it's a lot of people don't like that it feels kind of cheap. And it's interesting because like I picked the Native 5 earlier, but I think the thickness of these FRN scales and just the way that they did these, this feels more quality than the Delica, and I love the Delica, but I think it just, this particular model just feels like a little lower class, a little cheaper. I do love the blade shape on the Delica, and like I love the Delica, but it's just nothing compared to the Sage 5 Lightweight. Like, when you can choose all of these upgrades, why wouldn't you, right? The Delica's fantastic, though. If you're looking for a slim, sleek, thin EDC knife, I would choose the Delica. If you're picky about your profile of handles specifically, I would pick the Delica. You're really getting a kind of wider body on the Sage 5 because you have those contours just like the Para 3. So this is a little more... This one's been eating lunch, you know? This one is kind of like a breakfast dinner type deal. Very slim line, very thin, really melts in your hand and just kind of, you know, is nothing. It feels really good in hand. Just very skinny. So if you don't like how much real estate this takes up in your pocket, go for the Delica, especially when this is closed. This is a very wide knife. Very wide. It almost looks like an egg. It's an oval. It's definitely going to take up space in your pocket. It's lightweight, but it does take up some space, okay? So if you're picky about that, you know, the Delica is so sleek and slim. It takes up no space at all. That's another kind of interesting point with the Para 3. It's a little wide. Okay, both of these are a little wide just because they gave you that full-bodied palm swell there. Actually, it's not called a palm swell. Somebody corrected me like a year and a half ago. It's not called a palm swell. I don't know what you would call this. This swell where it sits in your palm, whatever that is called. Apparently a palm swell is when it goes this direction and it swells outward. People have too much time on their hands sometimes. So yeah, I would choose the Sage 5 Lightweight over the Delica, unless you are very picky about things being slim than the Delica, okay? Another one I get, let's see, we're 17 minutes in, holy shit. Another one I get is, what would you choose, the Native 5 Lightweight or the Delica? Probably the Native 5. But again, it really comes down to what shape of knife you like. You get a little more reach with the Delica, with that blade. Yeah, they're both lightweight FRN backlocks. That's kind of up to you. But I really do like the Native 5 Lightweight. And then the last one is obviously, what would you choose, the Sage 5 Lightweight or the Para 3? The Sage 5. I just like this blade shape better. I'm not the biggest fan of the triangle blade. It just doesn't suit my needs as well as the Sage 5. I really like the slim line leaf shape blade. That is a really good slicer for me. Still very rugged and durable. You're getting the same grind on these, that full flat grind. But I don't know, the leaf-shaped blade just feels better for me and my tasks. Okay? So obviously it's all personal preference. This is just my opinion from my use. Okay? But there are some comparisons for you and just some things to think about if you're looking at them. If you have the money or the resources to get all four, get all four. They're all incredible, and you don't pay attention to nitpicking them as much when you have all of the options. This is kind of a video for someone who cannot get all four and they're like, okay, I can only pick one. Which one? Which one out of all four would you pick? Ooh, that's tough. like Edward Scissorhands. I'm Erica Knife Hands right now. Somebody printed out a picture of me doing this once, a friend, and I actually have it printed out of me like this, like Freddy Krueger. Which one would we choose out of all 4? I'm obsessed with the Native 5, and I'm not sure what it is. I think I would pick the Native 5 out of all 4 of them. I just freaking love this blade. I don't know what it is about this knife where I'm just obsessed. The Native 5 would probably be the best Spyderco EDC knife ever created if they offered it in K390 and they put a compression lock on it. Legit. Like, imagine a K390 compression lock Native 5. That would be something to write home about. That would be incredible. I'm just waiting for at least the K390 part. Like, give us the K390 freaking Native 5. We have the Delica. We love it. We have all the other ones, but we really want a Seki City Japan K390 Native 5 lightweight. That's what we want. Spyderco, if you ever hear this. Okay, I think that's enough. We're at 22 minutes about. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, mother's numbers down in the description below. Not the description, the comments. Yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know what you think. What is your favorite Spyderco knife? This is all literally my personal opinion, but what are your favorites? What would you pick out of all 4? Let me know what you're carrying today. I love you guys so much. I hope that you maybe go use your shit today. Maybe learn how to sharpen your knives. This one's got a really fat bevel on it. Bevel. Look at that. Whoo! That's a slicer. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. I will see you on the next video. I love you all so, so much. Take care.